and then add and subtract from left to right. So since you only have addition and subtraction left to do from left to right, you just go ahead and do everything all at once. So 25 plus 30 is 55, plus 16 is 71, minus 2 is the total answer of 69. So that's answer B. On number 2, you have a distribution to do. The first one, just distribute the 5. So remember, this means 5 times 4. So we get 20. 5 times, watch out for this negative sign. This is either a negative or a subtraction. However you like to view it, it's the same exact thing. So 5 times negative 3 is negative 15b. Now you also have a negative 2 times those. So you got negative 10a. Now you have negative 2 times negative b, or positive. Now that's where it could be a mistake, so watch out for that. 12b. So if you had missed that negative sign and left it as a negative 12b, your answer would have come up as A. You have the 20 minus 10a, and negative 15b minus 12b would be A. So you have to be very careful with negative signs. So in actuality, our answer is 20 from here minus 10a, and then you had those like terms of negative 3b. So when you look at these, it's not necessarily the order. The order doesn't matter. So I have 20 and I have the negative 3b and the 10a all on letter C. So watch out. When you do multiple choice, they are looking for your mistakes of where you're going to have a common error. That's how multiple choice. It's not one answer and 3 random. They're all there for a reason. Number 3, okay, you got distributing inside of distributing. So we're going to take care of the innermost of both of these. So you have 2 outside. I'm going to take care of that 2 later. 3 times 1x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12 minus 3, and that one. Then I have a negative sign, subtracting. I'm going to distribute my 5x minus 15. Then I also have a plus 3 in this one. So I'm going to leave my 2 outside sitting there for a sec. Like terms, I have a 3x to pull down. I have a 12 minus 3 to be plus 9. Subtraction sign. 5x to come down. Negative 15 plus 3 to get negative 12. Alright, so from there I have my second set of distributing to do. I have the outside to do, so I have 2 times both of those. 6x plus 18. Now this is a negative or a subtraction. This is negative 1 times both of those. So it's saying I'm going to just distribute that negative 1 to both those, say negative 5x plus 12. (6x minus 5x is 1x. 18 plus 12 is 30. So 1x or just x plus 30, which is letter D. Okay, moving on to number 4. Alright, start getting into the solving a little bit. Which means in the answer, I want to see the variable equals what? Alright, so got a little distributing to do. I have a negative 1 here in front of that parenthesis. I'm going to distribute the negative 1 to both of those and the 3 to both of those. Make sure to keep the equal sign in between your information. So I have 2a minus 1a minus 6 equals 3a 3a plus 18. Now I have like terms to do. I'm going to combine those because they're right next to each other on the same side. That's 1a minus 6 equals 3a plus 18. Just doing one minor thing at a time. I'm going to move my 6 over. Here's my equal sign. I'm going to move my 6 over, join the 18. So I'm going to add 6 to move it across the equal sign. I'm going to do the same thing with a's. Move the 3's a's over. I have negative 2a equals 24. Divide out by negative 2. A should be negative 12. That would be letter C. And number 5, we just have a greater than less than sign to deal with, so we still have the same sort of stuff. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides to get that with the 6. Careful, now don't drop that negative sign in front of the 2. It's negative 2x less than or equal to 2. Now I'm going to divide by negative 2. X greater than or equal to negative 1. So now if you're dropping things or missing things, if you drop that negative sign, you would end up with one of these answers of C or D. One thing to watch out for: when you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip to the other side of the number line, which means you have to flip that sign here. If I was dividing by positive 2, it would not flip at all. So that is going to be letter B. On letter C, I'm trying to break out. I have a total of 2645. And you want to pull out the amount of the tip. So the tip was 15%. So divide by 100 to get my decimal of 0.15 is your tip amount. So what you do is, if you have the total, I'm going to divide by 100%, which is 1.00. Oops. Of your total. I'm going to divide by both of these percentages at once. So I want to take it out, and this will guarantee that if I'm going into the dollar amount, I'm going to take the 100% of it, and I'm going to take out the 15% that I don't want, because I want to know the original amount. So if you do that and divide by that, it comes out to be about 22.97. Now think about your answers. This was the total amount paid. So the total amount paid was the food, whatever, and your tip. Well, if this is a total amount, your answer should not be larger than it. So if you actually look at everything, look at your answers, B and C do not make sense because I don't want an amount larger than that, so I can automatically cross those off. 3.97, well, if your bill was $26.45, the amount of the food and everything was $3.97, and the rest of it was, $22 and some odd cents. That's a lot for, for being at a meal and not having that. So it's that. $22.97, closest answer is A. Number 7, I'm going to plug each one of these into my equation. But I got to figure out which is not a solution. So remember, on the left is X and on the right is Y. So I'm going to plug them in one at a time. So the first letter A is here. 2 times 0 minus 3 times negative 4. Does the at equal 12 is the question. 2 times 0 is 0. That goes away. Negative 3 times negative 4 is 12, so 12 equals 12. That works. Alright, so we know that's not one of our answers. Letter B. I have 2 times 6 minus 3 times 0 equals 12. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 3 times 0 is 0. So 12 equals 12 again. Okay. Moving on to letter C. You have 2 times 5 minus 3 times 1 equals 12. Well, does it? 10 minus 3 equals 12. That equals 7. So that is very likely our answer. However, because 7 does not equal 12. However, I'm just going to check letter D, because what if I made a mistake plugging in one of these, an X and a Y, or made a mistake plugging in one of these? I just want to double check real quick. 2 times 9 minus 3 times 2, does that equal 12? Well, I have 18 minus 6 equals 12, so yes. I did good on my arithmetic. Everything works out except letter C. So C is not the answer. So C is not a solution. So that is the answer I'm looking for. Okay, on number 8, I'm looking for X and Y intercept. So X-intercept, I want to plug in the Y to be 0, and then the Y-intercept, I want to plug in the X to be 0. So I'm going to take my equation and say Y minus equals 2 times 0 minus 2. Alright, Y equals, this is 0 minus 2, so Y equals negative 2. So my X-intercept is negative 2 and 0. For my Y-intercept, I'm going to go to the X. Oh my goodness, I just did this backwards. I'm sorry. Ay, 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 ay. Sorry. I plugged the 0 in the wrong spot. I actually did the opposite here. Sorry, the X-intercept, I need to plug the 0 in for the Y. I plugged in 0, 2x minus 2. Now I can't just simply divide by 2 because I need to move this 2 over so I can have x on one side and the other numbers on the other side. Add 2. 2 equals 2x. Now I can divide by 2 to get x by itself. X equals 1. For the y-intercept, I'm going to start over with my equation. And I'm plugging in 0 for the x. So I have y equals 2 times 0 minus 2. Y equals 0 minus 2. So now this time y equals negative 2, which fits better right here. That's what the problem was. Now look through your answers. I need a 1 for the x. And I need a negative 2 for the y. Not together in one answer. Two different ordered pairs. Alright, number 9 slope formula. M equals y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Alright, so xy, xy. So I plug in my y's. 3 minus negative 6 over negative 4 minus 2. I got 9 on top, negative 6 on bottom, and reduce that by 3's. I get 3 over negative 2, which is the same thing no matter where the negative is in the fraction. If it's top and bottom, it's the same thing. Number 10, dealing with exponents. Now on this one, first of all, I have a parentheses with the x squared with a squared term outside. So I actually have to do both of those, 4 squared and then x squared times 2x to the 4th. So I have 16x squared times 2x to the 4th, 32, because I'm actually multiplying the 16 and 2. Then I have x squared and x to the 4th, so that makes x to the 6th. So that is going to be letter C. Number 11, you have negative exponents. Okay, the way to get rid of a negative exponent, if it's on top, it moves to bottom. If it's on bottom, it moves to top. So to start getting rid of the negative, I have x to the 4th. I'm going to switch x to the 2nd. Now, if the exponent was positive to begin with, you wouldn't switch anything. Alright, x to the 4th and x to the 2nd. So now what you do is you just subtract the exponents, because it's like saying I have 4 on top, I have 2 on bottom, they cancel out 1 for 1. So this leaves x to the 2nd power. Alright, on the next, number 12. Okay, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to do the first two. 3x times 2x is 6x to the 2nd. 3x times 7 is 21x. Okay, so I took care of the 3. So I now have negative 4 times each of those. So negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. And negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. So now all you have to do is combine like terms. 6x to the 2nd plus 13x minus 28, letter C. Okay, factor completely is a big hint to you. There's going to be more than one thing to do. First of all, you can see, alright, each of these has an x, so I'm going to take x out of every single one of them. So x has to be part of your answer, but still on the outside. If I take it out of x cubed, I have x squared left. If I take it out of x squared, I have 24x plus 144. Now next step is I want to multiply to 144. I want to find two numbers that multiply to 144 but add to 24. Okay, so I'm going to split up this one to x and x. 144 is 12 times 12. 12 plus 12 makes 24, so I know my numbers, plus 12 and plus 12. Now if you look at your answers real quick, you have two of them that are pretty similar. You have x plus 12, x plus 12, x plus 12, x plus 12. However, the mistake is going to be if you drop that GCF out in front. So that's letter A. Letter A is your final answer. We need every single thing that you did to this problem. That has to be part of it. Okay, number 14, solve for x. Okay, first thing you need to do is get everything on one side of the equal sign. I always like to leave x squared as positive, so let's move 6x. X squared plus 6x equals negative 9. Let's move 9. X squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. Before you can do anything, it has to equal 0. Alright, I'm going to attempt this by factoring. So just like I did up above, two things that multiply to x squared is x and x. Now two numbers that multiply to 9 is either 9 and 1 or 3 and 3. So that's good because there's only a couple combinations. Multiply to the 9 but add to 6. So I have 9 plus 1 doesn't equal 6. So I have 3 plus 3. Now to solve, I've done the factoring part, but I still need to solve. I take each parenthesis and make it equal 0. Well, I'm not actually going to do the second parenthesis because it's exactly like the first parenthesis. So I've already done both of them in one shot. So I don't have to do anything more. That's just letter C. Okay, number 15 is again a factor completely thing. Okay, first thing you do is take out what's in common. Well, the variable's not in common in all three. However, I can take out a 2, divide out a 2 out of all of them as a GCF, and be left with x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now 2 is going to stay outside, and I'm going to factor like I did for 13 and 14. I need two numbers to multiply to 4, but add up coincidentally to the other 4. Well, it's either 4 times 1 or 2 times 2. 4 times 1 does not add later to 4. So x squared splits up x and x. 4 splits up to 2 and 2. Alright, so looking at your answers, I have 2 on the outside of 3 of them, but x to the 4th doesn't have anything to do with our problem, so it's letter B. Alright, number 16 is a factor by called grouping. You have 4 terms. I'm going to take 2 at a time. So I'm going to do the first 2 together and then the last 2 together. I'm going to take out what's in common. So x squared here, x squared outside. Then I have x plus 3. I have a negative 4 to take out. So I have x plus 3. Okay, and since these are repeating, that's what I want. They pull into one parenthesis. My outside numbers pull into the other parenthesis. Okay, now I know it's very tempting to be done and look at letter C and be like, woo, I got an answer. However, you're not quite done yet. This parenthesis actually factors more. Because there's a x squared here, doesn't mean it always factors, but this x squared splits into x and x. 4 is called a perfect square. If you square root it, you get the number 2. This is a plus 2 and a minus 2. This is a special case of factoring if you have a squared minus b squared. So these are perfect squares. Factors into a minus b and a plus b. If there was a plus sign originally here, you'd be done. But right now, since the subtraction sign is there, you end up with letter B. Number 17 is a case of factoring again. I'm going to factor the top by taking the GCF of y out, and actually the same thing on the bottom. So on top I have y, and then I have y squared minus 16 over y taking out, so I have y plus 4. Well, the bottom doesn't factor anything anymore, so that's like it is. Now the top is actually one of those special ones that we just did right here. Perfect square with a subtraction sign in between. So I have y sitting outside. I have a y minus 4 and I have a y plus 4. Y's actually cancel out. Y plus 4 over y plus 4. Top and bottom, they cancel out. You're just left with y minus 4, which is letter A. Okay, number 18. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, because I have a division here, I keep the first fraction like it is. I change the division to multiplying, and I flip the other fraction, so I have x squared minus 16 on top and x minus 5 on the bottom. Now I'm going to start factoring. Alright, so x minus 5 doesn't do anything because it's just, there's no exponent on the x, can't do anything there, can't do anything with the 5. So for this one, actually again that special case, like we had up the previous two. Perfect square, so it's x minus 5 and x plus 5. Same thing again here, x squared 16, subtraction sign in between, x minus 4, x plus 4. Now, the other leftover bottom of the fraction denominator, the x squared plus 4x, they're not the special case, but I can take a GCF of x out. I have x and x plus 4 to take out. Okay, these two fractions, it's kind of like they're actually you have one. If there's the same factor on top and bottom, they cancel out. So let's see. X minus 5 goes away. We also have x plus 4 and x plus 4. Those go away. So what I'm left with is x plus 5, x minus 4, all over x, and that's letter D. Number 19. Alright, I gotta solve this. So what I'm gonna first do is factor this, the more complicated one. I have v and v. I want to multiply to negative 15, add to negative 2. So I have a negative and a positive. 15 is like 5 times 3. So I just need to make sure they add to the negative. So negative 5 and positive 3. Well, coincidentally, the other bottoms of the fractions look like a piece of this. I have v minus 5 here, and I have v plus 3 here. So what happens is on each fraction, I want to multiply by what's missing. So I have a v plus 3 here. I want to multiply v minus 5. On the left fraction, I have v minus 5. I want to multiply by v plus 3. Alright, so we have this. Everything on the bottom is exactly the same, which is good because it helps us do a little quick trick and makes it easy for us to solve. Okay, to get the top, I'm going to start distributing. 6 times v is 6v. 6 times 3 is 18. Now I have 3 times v, 3v, and I have a minus 15. Since the bottoms are the same, I actually cancel all of them out, and I only work with the top. So I want all the bottoms to be the same so I can just deal with the tops now. So I have 6v plus 18. Now you have a negative sign, which means it goes to the entire parenthesis, or I'm sorry, the entire fraction here, or the top of the fraction. So negative 3v plus 15 equals 54. Alright, like terms, 6v minus 3v is 3v. 18 plus 15 is 33 equals 54. Minus 33 on both sides, solve for the v. And v equals 7. Alright, given the graph, see if the graph is a function. A function means each x has only one y. So if I look at this x and y, x and y, x and y, I do kind of like what's called a vertical line test and make sure it only passes through the graph once. If it was something like this, like the graph was like that, and it goes through twice, this is not a function. Ours, since it only goes through once, Yes, it is a function. Number 21, function or notation. Alright, our f of x changed to f of s plus 5, so I'm going to work with s plus 5. My original was this. Everywhere there's an x, I'm going to pull that x out and change it into s plus 5. So I took care of that one. Now I'm going to take care of this one. 4 times s plus 5 plus 7. So I don't have to deal with this side at all. It stays like that. I have 4s plus 20 plus 7 is 4s plus 27. So you have letter B. Number 22 says find an equation of the line. Well, first I need to do my slope like I did on the other problem previously. That was problem number 17. No. Not 17. Number 9. Okay, x and y, x and y. Okay, first y minus second y over first x minus second x. So that's negative 1 over 1, which is ultimately negative 1. Now if you look at your answers, you only have one of them with a negative 1 slope, or two of them with a negative 1 slope. So now we just got to go through and figure out what the y-intercept is. Alright, so if you take your information and you plug it into this form. Okay, I have my slope to plug in. I'm going to pick an x and a y to plug in and plug in the x and plug in the y. Y minus 2 equals negative 1 times x minus 5. Y minus 2 equals distribute negative 1x plus 5 because a negative times a negative. Add 2 to both sides. Y equals negative 1x plus 7. So ultimately that gives us letter B. Alright, number 23. Systems of equations. Since these are lined up already, I'm just going to multiply the bottom one by a number that will help me get rid of the y's here. Opposite of 7 is negative 7. Right now it's 1. So if I multiply by 7, 7 and 1 will get me 7. So top stays the same. Bottom is 14x minus 7y equals, let's see, 13 and 7, 91. Okay, I'm going to add up going down. 17x. Y's cancel out because I have 7 plus negative 7 equals 85. Divide by 17. X equals positive 5. Now it looks great. We're on the right track. There's only one answer with positive 5 for the x. However, let's just double check and figure out our y. Make sure it is the same as they got. So I'm going to take the top one. 3 times 5 plus 7y equals negative 6. 15 plus 7y equals negative 6. Looks like we're on the right track. Y equals negative 3. Great, our answer and our work match up. And 24 we have percentages to do. Alright, so anytime you have percentages you have to divide them by 100 first to get their decimals. So 12% is 0.12. 3% is 0.03. 9% is 0.09. Okay, so I'm going to have x be my 12% solution and y be my 3% solution. Okay, I need a total of 24 liters, so I know the x and the y need a total of 24. Now my other equation is going to be about my percentages. 0.12x plus 0.03y equals 24 times 0.09. Because it's all about the percentages of the alcohol solution in here. So I have 0.12x plus 0.03y, multiply those together, and we get 2.16. Okay. So that changed into that, so I'm going to deal with this and this. I'm going to do substitution on this one, because I have all these decimals here. I'm going to get, let's see, I'm going to get y by itself. So I have x plus y equals 24, and subtract x on both sides. Y equals 24 minus x. And then I'm going to take this and plug it in. 0.12x goes into the bottom one, 0.03 times 24 minus x equals 2.16. Alright, start distributing. 0.12x plus 0.72 minus 0.03x equals 2.16. This and this make 0.09x plus 0.72 equals 2.16. Subtract 0.72. 0.09 equals 1.44. Divide by 0.09, solve for x. X equals 16. Now just to double check, I know our answers look good, they match up with A so far. Let's just double check. I have x plus y to begin with 24. Minus 16 minus 16, y does equal 8. So that makes letter A here. Alright, on 25, systems with 3 variables. Alright, I'm going to take these top two together. I'm going to multiply by, let's see, let's get rid of the y's. I'll multiply by 5 on top. I multiply everything. So I have a positive 5 and a negative 5 to cancel out. So 5x plus 5y plus 5z, oh no, minus 5z equals negative 40. The next one, I have 4x minus 5y minus 4z equals 4. So I left that second equation alone, didn't do anything with it. Now I'm going to add these up. I have 9x, y's cancel out, negative 9z equals negative 36. Alright. Now I have one, I'm going to put this aside and keep this here. Now I'm going to again deal with the top and the third one. Because the only reason I'm going to the top and third is if you look at the numbers in front of x, y, and z on the top, they're all ones. Those are a lot easier to deal with than the middle one is. So I'm going to do the same thing and get rid of the y's. No reason, I don't know. Okay, so top and bottom, and we'll multiply by something to get rid of the y's here. So I'm going to multiply by negative 4. So I have, let's see, 4x, negative 4x, minus 4y plus 4z equals negative 8. That's the top. On the bottom, negative 5x plus 4y minus 6z equals negative 18. Add them up, negative 9x Y's cancel out. I have negative 2z equals negative 26. Alright, let's see here. Alright, sorry about that. I had to make sure my computer didn't lose power here. Alright, so now I'm going to combine these two equations. I'm going to use these two together. 9x minus 9z equals negative 36. Negative 9x minus 2z equals negative 26. Alright, let's see here. So we're going to add these up. Negative 11z equals I just realized I did something. Hold on. When I went back to distributing here, I did negative 4x minus 4y plus 4z. I didn't distribute it to that negative 8. Oh boy. So that makes 32 here. So this makes 14 when you add these up. This makes 14 here. So that would be negative 36 plus 14 is 22. And negative 36 is bigger. So that divided by negative 11, z equals positive 2. Alright, found one. Now I'm going to go back and just go back up one step and plug it in to solve for x. Negative 9x minus 2 times 2 equals 14. Negative 9x minus 4 equals 14. Add 4. Negative 9x equals 18. X equals negative 2. Alright, so we're on the right track to get letter D. Let's just double check our y. Go back up to the first one. I have negative 2 for x plus y minus 2 for z equals negative 8. Y minus 4 equals negative 8. Alright, y equals negative 4, which is letter D. That's what we're looking for overall. Alright, and number 26. The first thing I'm going to do is combine two of these together. Well, I don't have opposites like I had before. I'm going to do something to get rid of my z's here, because the bottom one doesn't have z's, so that will make it real kind of quick and easy to work with. So I'll multiply the top one by negative 1 to everything. So you saw this before, if I didn't multiply everything, even the number on the other side of the equal sign, then the problem got really messed up and you'll have a lot of get frustrated and all that sort of stuff. Alright, so top one, negative 4x plus y minus z equals negative 2. Then I have x minus 2y plus z equals negative 3. Alright, so I have negative 3x. Let's see here. Minus 1y. These cancel out, equals negative 5. So I have x's and y's just like that other bottom of that equation. So I'm going to take that and take my bottom one and say 3x plus y equals 5. Oh, I already have opposites, which is good. I have 0 plus 0 equals 0. Okay, 0 equals 0. That makes it really nice for us. I don't have any variables to solve for. It's not a or b. 0 does equal 0. This means there's infinitely many solutions. If you ended up with something like 0 equals to 2, That would be no solution because the numbers are not equal. Alright, number 27. I want to get the variable by itself on the middle, so add 5 to everything, all 3 parts. You get negative 56, less than 8p, and then 24, divided by 8 on everything, negative 7p, and then 4. Alright, so just watch your notation. Because this is not underlined, it's a parenthesis here. Because this is underlined, it's a bracket here. Smaller on the number on the left, larger on the... Oh shoot. I'm sorry about this. There's a 3 there. Smaller on the left, larger on the right. And so if you look at the answers, they're all kind of mixed around, so you could make a couple mistakes, so be careful with that. And then your answer is A. Alright, 28 and 29 deal with absolute values. First of all, anything outside needs to get away from the absolute value because they don't affect the positive answer but can get in the way. So absolute values, now you do 2 problems. Go to positive 4, go to negative 4. So 3z plus 7 greater than 4, 3z plus 7 less than negative 4. Because I want to flip around to the other side of the number line, so you got to flip your sign around. The nice thing though, you do the same exact process to everything. This is a greater symbol, so this is an OR statement. See. Z is greater than negative 1, or Z is less than negative 11 over 3. Now I didn't flip my inequality signs around anymore from where I made my equations because the number I divided by was positive. Alright, so this means negative 1 to infinity because I want numbers bigger than that, and this means negative 11 over 3, but I want numbers smaller than that, so negative infinity. Letter C. Number 29, same sort of thing. I have 11 minus 3x greater than 14, and then 11 minus 3x less than or equal to negative 14. Alright, subtract 11, negative 3x greater than or equal to 3. Now watch out on this one, definitely is flipping around the sign, divided by negative 3, get less than negative 1, less than or equal to, so definitely a bracket, negative 1 and numbers smaller. So negative 1 is the smallest of them, largest of them. Alright, and the other one, negative 3x less than negative 25, divided by negative 3. X greater than or equal to positive, because I have a negative divided by negative. My sign flips around, greater than 25 over 3. So greater than or equal to means a bracket, and then going toward the positive infinity. Letter B. So I have them going, one going towards the smaller numbers, one going towards the bigger numbers. So it's not everything in between them. So it's nothing like letter C or just letter D. Be careful. Absolute values usually have 2 answers or 2 parts to their answer. Alright, number 30, square roots. So I'm going to do the square root of 32 and do the square root of x to the 5th. And then I'm going to combine my answers. Well, 32 is 16 times 2, which is why I'm going for the perfect square. So 16 is 4 outside, square root of 4. 16 is 4, and then I have a root 2 left over. Now, x to the 5th is like saying square root of x to the 5th is like 1/2 power. So square root goes into this. It's like saying x to the 4th. I'm looking for an even power. So square root of x to the 4th is x squared, and then I just have a root x left over. So I'm going to combine this into one answer. Outside, outside, inside, inside. 4x to the 2nd outside, 2x inside. That's letter B. (31) Rationalize the denominator, which means I don't want to square root in the bottom, so multiply top and bottom by root 5 and root 5. You get 10 root 5 over square root of 25, which is 10 root 5 over 5. Now the one thing you can do is, since these are not under roots, they can divide out to root 5. Number 32. Now get the square root alone, so add 2 to both sides. 7m plus 2 equals m plus 2. Now I'm going to square both sides to get rid of that root. Those cancel out, so I have 7m plus 2. I'm going to square this one. I get, so remember this is like saying m plus 2 and m plus 2. Got to FOIL these out, multiply these out. M squared plus 2m plus 2m plus 4. Alright, got everything I need to get together here. 7m plus 2 equals m squared plus 4m plus 4. Minus 2. 7m equals m squared plus 4m plus 2. Subtract 7m. 0 equals m squared minus 3m plus 2. Alright, now I'm going to try to factor this. M and m. Multiplies to 2 would be 2 and 1, or negative 2 and negative 1. It adds up to negative 3, so I have negative 2 and negative 1. So last step to do is say m minus 2 equals 0 and m minus 1 equals 0. Solve for m. Got two answers. M is positive 2, m is positive 1. That's letter C. Okay, number 33, solving. And looking at the answers, it's not any type of factoring we can do. We're going to do quadratic formula. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Alright, to figure out, letter A is the number in front of x squared, b is just x, c is the constant by itself. So I just plug them in. Quadratic formula. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times 2 times 7 all over 2 times 2. Alright, so 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 7 is negative 47 all over 4. Alright, in one of the sections we dealt with dealing with negative square roots. We can't typically do them to get real solutions, so you need to just take out the variable called I for imaginary numbers. So it's 3 plus I root 47 over 4 and negative 3 minus I root 47 over 4. So that's letter A. Alright, 34, to find the vertex. First you find the x value is negative b over 2a, and then we'll figure out the y. So again, a is in front of x squared, b is by itself, or in front of x, c is by itself. So I have negative 20 over 2 times 5, negative 20 over 10. So the x is negative 2. Alright, I caught a couple answers here with negative 2, so hopefully those come out to be one of them. For 34, I got the x, and I need to figure out the y. So everywhere there's an x, I plug it in. Y equals 5 times negative 2 squared plus 20 times negative 2 minus 12. And if you do that, this is 4, so you get 20 plus negative 40 minus 12, which is y equals negative 32. And for your last one, you're trying to figure out what graph works. Alright, so my biggest suggestion is, again, do the vertex. We just did on 34. X equals negative b over 2a. The number in front of x squared is a, this is b, and this is c. So I plug in opposite of b is negative 8. 2 times the a, negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. Now I have to figure out the y, so I plug in my negative 4. So I have 1 times negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 13. Alright, so I'm going to do all this side, order of operations. I have positive 16 times 116 plus negative 32 plus 13. Alright, so I have these two. Here is negative 16 plus 13 is negative 3. So my x is negative 4, my y is negative 3. So let's look at our graphs. This vertex, which is the low point here, is positive 4, positive 3. Doesn't work. Letter B, start at the origin, this is positive 4, negative 3. Very close, but you have to keep in mind both negative numbers. Letter C is negative 4, positive 3. Nope. And letter D is negative 4 and negative 3. There we go. I hope this helped. Please take this, into consideration when you do your final. Take the time to do all the work and check all the answers before you pick a solution. I wish you the best of luck on your final. Let me know if you have questions, and good luck.